So what were some of the challenges that you guys have had during COVID? I know it's been a little tough for us. Um,
Yeah.
how'd you deal with those, and what are some of the challenges?
Well, the biggest, most obvious one is the business impacts, because what we saw, like a lot of people saw, was um, basically our entire pipeline of new projects got put on hold. Like
Yeah.
everyone just reacting to what was happening in their businesses and what was happening in the world. And it was like, we don't know if this is going to happen, or just going silent as they like reacted to like being forced to work from home and those kinds of things. And so that had a pretty significant initial impact on our revenue, we were really looking at, or if this trend continues, if what we see happening in March continues,
Yeah.
then our revenue could be down 30 to 40% in 2020. And so that was the first biggest challenge, was facing that prospect and figuring out what to do about it. And we made some changes, and which I'm happy to go into. And then, but through that, now the challenge is just, it's tough between COVID and now the, really sort of reckoning around racism in our country. It's an emotional, tough time for people to work and to be productive. So that's the biggest challenge right now.
And I think they interrelate in a lot of ways, because people are frustrated. Obviously, there's a lot. We try not to talk too much about politics, but there's obviously an interconnection between those two things. But yeah, I think things are going to start opening up again, and I try to stay positive about it. I think there's some beauty, even though the horror of what happened. I mean, just the idea that people all over the world, obviously, the riots were horrible, but for the most part, I think it was 99% of it was peaceful, and all around the world, people came out and just stood up against racism. It's beautiful,
Right.
So I think there's a lot to be hopeful for, and I think that we can. I think we'll see changes in the market. It's going to take a little time, but
yeah,
I feel positive about it.
I do too, and at ThoughtBot we've done a lot to reduce bias and make sure that we have equity at ThoughtBot. But the difference for us is, like, I realize that that's not enough. Like, if we're focused only internally, then we're not using our full power to have an actual impact on the world. And so we've been trying to find ways where we can, take action and have an impact outside of ThoughtBot. And we don't have all the answers.
Nobody does. We're all trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think it's very complex. I think today everyone's in their own tribe. I think I lie a little more in the center. Definitely a liberal, classical liberal. I think I'd call myself. But I think what's bad, I think, about today is that the conversation idea has died, and that as soon as you start a conversation, automatically you might be this way, you might be that way. I think it's great that it's time to open up conversation with people and to just be able to talk to people that might not think the same way. Not automatically assume that they're racist or they're race beta or whatever the side may be. So I do think there's a lot of hope for that, and I see that starting to happen. It's a little scary, obviously, with the administration we have right now, but we won't go too far. Again, I don't want to go too far into politics.
Well, I think, I take your point. I think there's a difference between politics and morality, though, and I think it's possible to have a conversation about racism and what that means in our country, and have it be separate from politics.
I think so too. But we have to be honest about a lot of the statistics too. But that goes into a lot. Anyway, that's all the issue. So we won't jump into that.
So what we did in terms of the pandemic, which I think was really important, is
that was the thing I wanted to get at.
If you looked at, we had to respond very quickly to the changing market. So ThoughtBot, traditionally, our go-to-market strategy, our value proposition was we have local studios in 6 cities, London, and 5 cities in the US, New York, Boston, Raleigh, Durham, Austin, Texas, and San Francisco. And if you went to our website at the time, it said things like local studios working closely in person with local customers. Like that just wasn't going to fly. And at a time when our business is shrinking, people coming to our website, seeing that language, like that was just unacceptable, and we needed to very quickly pivot to make sure that when customers came to our website, they weren't instantly saying, well, I guess this isn't the company for me to work with right now. And so we did.
But how would they come to that conclusion? Like, sorry.
Because if our website is covered in like, we're going to work in person with you.
Oh,
then it's just not gonna work. And so I'm really proud of what we did, which was we did exactly what we do as designers, which is like, okay, that was the solution. What was the underlying problem or value proposition that we were saying when we said we worked in person with people? And it was that we are the most collaborative company. Like we work really collaboratively with our clients.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that our clients say that makes us different is that we teach them how to be a better company and how to build better products. And so we pulled that out of there. Like, so now if you visit our website, it says like working collaboratively with you, no matter where you are, and pivoting to that different value proposition, removing the language that we had around working in person. And I think we did that very quickly, very early on. And I think it's one of we'll never really know, but I think it's one of the reasons why we were able to very quickly correct the decreases the trend line that we saw on the new business.
Oh, well, that's really insightful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.